Hi everyone, my name is Heather and I'm the person behind Happy Puppy Truffles. Today I wanted to share with you guys a traditional origami project called a Kusudama, and this is probably one of the most easily recognizable pieces of origami aside from my crane. I think a lot of people really associate this with origami, and there's literally thousands of different variations of Kusudama that you can make. This is a very traditional style where you use needle and thread to put your pieces together, and I thought, since we're in the middle of spring, even though I heard it snowed in Colorado today, go figure, you know Colorado, but where I am in Japan, it's hot actually. The season for iris is over almost. It's like too hot now and things are kind of looking pathetic, at least down where I am here. So, but they're such a pretty flower, and I thought it would be neat to kind of just do a variation between these two different shades of purple. And I made 24 pieces of the flower, and then I'm going to just do 2 rows of 12 and kind of poof it out and arrange it when we're done to kind of get some balance to it. You can certainly use different numbers of flowers. You can use different flowers. You can put a flower inside a flower to make things look cool, you know, different ways like this, to make things look unique. There's just so many fun things you can do with Kusudama, so it's really a limitless kind of project. And if you get these basics down, then you can really try to have lots of fun with what you do. So like I said, I'm going to be doing 2 rows of 12, and if any of you guys are out there and you're like, needle and thread, that's against the rules of origami. Well, if you know anything about Kusudamas, you know that this is the only way you can do this. So, with the exception of some origami where you connect by folding the pieces together, but traditional origami does it this way. So, I got all my little flowers here, and like I said, I'm going to do 2 rows of 12. So, I was just going to show you guys what we do here. Basically, we just thread a piece of thread through the bottom part, and you don't want to get like super close to the end, but just a little bit here, and I'm just going to go around and create a kind of like a wreath almost of flowers here. And I've done other Kusudama in the past. I think I shared some Tomoko Fusei with you guys a long time ago, but I was asked to take those down, so I thought it was about time I gave you guys another video of how to do this, because I know this is something a lot of people like to do. So, I'm just going to go ahead and just start off with one, and you can use kind of the folds from the iris as a good guide. You know, I want to try to be as in center in there as I can, and then as much to the center on the other side too. So, you know, you're just poking right through. And then I'm just going to go ahead and leave a tiny little bit on the other side so that I can tie these 2 ends off when I'm done. So it's just really a question of sewing these through and keeping them lined up. And this particular flower of the iris can be a little tricky because the petals stick out so far, and you know, they can kind of get in your way as you're doing things, as you'll see when I put stuff together. But and I'm going to actually show you too, if you want, you can curl the petals, but I recommend doing that later because things get kind of smashed as we're doing stuff here anyway, so you'll probably have better luck curling things once we're all completed. But I'm just going to go ahead and speed through the video here and show you guys. I'm just alternating and going through, just threading a needle through one side to the other, and then just letting these line up here in a circle until I can get 12 completed flowers. So you can see here I've finished. I've got all of these kind of going through to create this sort of loop, and then you're just really just going to be tying it off. And it can be a little overwhelming because, like I said, this particular flower has like these big giant petals that stick out everywhere, so it doesn't necessarily look so great right from the beginning here. And you want to try to find the right tension for this as you pull these together. If you make some of these, you know, too close together, then things can kind of get weird on you. But if you know, don't give yourself, you know, if you leave it too loose, then it looks weird as well. So you want to just kind of play around with it and see. You want to get these as close to the center as you can. And I'm just going to go ahead and start off here by tying just a basic loop here. And you can kind of see as you do this, you're getting all these to come together in the middle here. And if you do what I just did, it folds itself in half. You know, you don't want it to do that, but we want to try to get all those tips as close to the center, but then you want to allow for the you know, size of each of these flowers. And I apologize, it's not very easy to see. But the ideal situation is where each one of these is fairly close to the center, and then we'll work with it later to kind of poof things out. But once you kind of get stuff going there, we can tie this off into a knot. And sometimes this, you know, helps if you have an extra hand to help you do this, but it's not too serious. And just get it tied off a little bit there. So get something like that. And then you want to do the same thing with your other one too. So I've got two of these now. And then we're just going to kind of put them together, one on top of the other. And before we do that, what I want to do is lay out my string that I'm going to be using for this. And if you're using a tassel piece, you'd want to have like the tassel connected to a loop of some kind. If I had a tassel here, then you'd want to tie things off. You'd want to kind of choose a good length, and this part can be a little tricky, and it takes some, you know, a little bit of testing based on the size of how deep these flowers are. You want to imagine that your tassel is going to hang from the center and out from the bottom, and you can kind of just see, because it's going to be circle, you can kind of see here what we'd be looking at. You know, you don't want it to be like too long or too short so that the tassel's hiding up inside the Kusudama. So you want to kind of consider that and just loop that through here before you tie it off so that you can have it hanging down. And then part of what we'll do here as we combine stuff is we'll also loop through here to bring this and pull this towards the center of everything that we're working on. So I'm going to be using some green thread to kind of just hopefully give a little better view of what's going on here. And I figure green doesn't look too bad with the purple, so maybe it'll finish out all right. What you want to do is start off with 2 pieces of string, and you know, don't be shy to have it long. I think, you know, it's better to have it a little long than too short, because you want to be able to work with it as you know, arrange, you know, kind of pull it and tug it between the flowers. So it's good to have, you know, a little space, and as you get more used to making things, then you can be a little less wasteful maybe with your string. But I've got 2 strings here, and like I said, if you're doing a situation here where you'd have a tassel, you'd want to have the tassel's string going through here, going through one side. You want to try for the center of everything as much as you can, just to have equal parts on either side, but it's not super important. It's just more for you as you're working, so you have equal places to work with stuff. So you're creating basically a big X, and like I said, like in my case, I'm showing you guys with this string, if you have a tassel to put through, you'll have that right here too. So I'm going to take one of these layers of my flowers here, just set it here. Try to kind of visually look here at what I've got, make sure all my flowers are in the right order. And what we want to do, because I'm dealing with 12 parts here, I want to obviously separate that into fourths, because I'm going to cut through here at an even pace. So 3 flowers to each quadrant essentially. And you want to just kind of start by pulling like from the top left and the bottom right, and just choose a place here really. It doesn't, you know, you can choose, for example, on the bottom, it doesn't really matter where. And then just make sure that this little guy up here comes through 6 flowers from there, because we're going through 2 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I need to be right between this dark and light purple one here. So I've got those two strings pulled through in the middle, essentially, of that bottom area. And then I want to do the same thing with the other sides, and this time taking care, of course, to go through at the 3 points. So you can see I've got my little green string coming through between this light purple and this dark purple. So if I count from there, I got 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to come right through here and cut between these two guys. And then this one over here will be similar. I've got 1, 2, 3, so right through here. And you basically want to try to get through so you get something like this. And then I'm going to kind of do another similar thing where I'm going to go through another set of stuff here. And these guys get all kind of goofy on you. And I apologize if I'm having a hard time seeing things. It's a little hard to work from this angle as I'm doing stuff. But I'm just going to kind of put this right on top here. And you want to make sure first, of course, that you've got these strings out just a little bit to help you along. I'm just going to start again with this top one here. And from where I was, you can just choose a spot where you want to be. And this one too. So bring it up here. And then this bottom one from there, count out 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So right through here. Feed that string through to the middle. And then do the same thing on the sides too. So I've got 1, 2, 3. And then on this side too. Okay, get these guys over on the side here. 1, 2, 3. So you wind up getting all 4 of your strings through the middle here, and you just want to kind of give it a good pull and get things balanced as much as you can. And you can kind of start off just by tying off a loop here. Because of the way that this particular flower is, you know, I can really get in there and play around with stuff. Everything is connected by strings, so if there's too many of one color next to each other, you can play with it later and get it worked out a little. Things will probably take care of themselves, so you can kind of get a pretty good tight tie there in the middle, getting all those pieces to come towards the center, and just double it off with a knot. And then you've got this part, of course, that you can use to hang things with. And then it's just about playing with things here. You can see I've got the little part down here for where my tassel would be. That should be pretty much opposite of this top part here. If I've done things right, hopefully it goes through the center. And you know, you could tell from this being like the iris, it's pretty spiky right now because of all the ways that these little flowers look. But if you wanted to, then you can go ahead and use like a orange stick, for example, and go through here and curl these edges. You could choose to only curl the dark purple ones. You can, you know, alternate. There's lots of fun stuff you can do with that too. But if you just get a good curl started here, kind of takes away some of the sharpness of this particular flower and makes a really pretty finished piece here. I'll kind of show you guys, I'll fast forward as I go through and do all of these, but you can get a much prettier flower here with those nice curled edges than you do with the sharper ones. So But that's basically kind of how things look here. So I'll go ahead and fast forward and try to finish up these and show you guys how it looks when we're done. So when you're finished, you might have something that kind of looks like this. Just these fun little flowers everywhere. And yeah, that's just kind of a fun way to make a kusudama. And like I said, you can use this technique with lots of different flowers, not just the traditional flowers, but there's so many beautiful flower patterns out there from so many different artists that I definitely recommend, giving it a try, and you get a really beautiful decorative piece for parties, weddings, celebrations, parties outside, those kinds of things. So great gift for somebody if they do really something cool or something. So, but yeah, I'll have some more fun stuff like this to share with you guys in the future. Thanks again always so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!